You might fight against your enemies, and the Lord your God might let you defeat them and take them as captives. You might see a beautiful woman among the captives who you want to be your wife. You must then bring her into your house where she will shave her head and cut her nails. She must change her clothes and take off the clothes she was wearing when she was captured in war. She will stay in your house and be sad about losing her father and her mother for a full month. After that, you may go to her to be her husband, and she will be your wife. If you are not pleased with her and choose to divorce her, set her free. You cannot sell her. You had sexual relations with her, so you must not treat her like a slave. A man might have 2 wives. He might love one wife more than the other. Both wives might have children for him, but the firstborn son might be from the wife he does not love. When the man divides his property among his children, he cannot give the rights of the firstborn to the son of his favorite wife. The man must accept the firstborn son from the wife he does not love. The man must give that son a double share of everything he owns, because that son is his first child. The right of the firstborn belongs to that son. A man might have a son who is stubborn and refuses to obey. This son does not obey his father or mother. They punish the son, but he still refuses to listen to them. His father and mother must take him to the leaders of the town at the town meeting place. They must say to the leaders of the town, "Our son is stubborn and refuses to obey. He does not do anything we tell him to do. He eats and he drinks too much." Then the men in the town must kill the son with stones. By doing this, you will remove this evil from your group. Everyone in Israel will hear about this and be afraid. A man might be guilty of a sin that must be punished by death. People might kill him and hang his body on a tree. You must not let that body stay on the tree overnight. You must be sure to bury this man on the same day, because the one who hangs on a tree is cursed by God. And you must not let the land that the Lord your God is giving you become unclean. If you see that your neighbor's ox or sheep is loose, you must not ignore it. Be sure to take it back to its owner. If the owner does not live near you, or if you don't know who it belongs to, take the ox or sheep to your house. Keep it there until the owner comes looking for it, then give it back. You must do the same thing when you find anything that your neighbor might have lost. Don't try selling it to your neighbor. You must give it back. If your neighbor's donkey or ox has fallen down on the road, you must not ignore it. You must help your neighbor lift it up again. A woman must not wear men's clothes, and a man must not wear women's clothes. That is disgusting to the Lord your God. You might be walking along a path and find a bird's nest in a tree or on the ground. If the mother bird is sitting with her baby birds or on the eggs, you must not take the mother bird with the babies. You may take the babies for yourself, but you must let the mother go. If you obey these laws, things will go well for you and you will live a long time. When you build a new house, you must build a wall around your roof. Then you will not be guilty for the death of a person who falls from the house. You must not plant seeds of grain in the same fields as your grapevines. Why? Because then they become useless, both the grapes and the grain produced by the seeds you planted. You must not plow with an ox and a donkey together. You must not wear clothes made by weaving together wool and linen. Tie several pieces of thread together, then put these tassels on the 4 corners of the robes you wear. A man might marry a woman and have sexual relations with her. Then he might decide that he does not like her. He might accuse her of doing wrong and say, "I married this woman, but when we had sexual relations, I found she was not a virgin." By saying this against her, people might think bad things about her. If this happens, the girl's father and mother must bring the proof that the girl was a virgin to the town elders at the meeting place of the town. The girl's father must say to the leaders, "I gave my daughter to this man to be his wife, but now he does not want her. This man accused my daughter of doing wrong and said, 'I did not find the proof that your daughter is a virgin. But here is the proof that my daughter was a virgin.' Then they should show the cloth to the town leaders. Then the leaders of that town must take that man and punish him. They must find him 40 ounces of silver. They will give the money to the girl's father because her husband brought shame to the Israelite girl. And the girl will continue to be the man's wife. He cannot divorce her for the rest of his life. But what the husband said about his wife might be true. The wife's parents might not have the proof that she was a virgin. If this happens, the town leaders must bring the girl to the door of her father's house. Then the men of the town must kill her with stones, because she has done a shameful thing in Israel. She has acted like a prostitute in her father's house. You must remove this evil from your group. If a man is found having sexual relations with another man's wife, both of them must die, the woman and the man who had sexual relations with her. You must remove this evil from Israel. A man might meet a virgin girl engaged to another man. He might have sexual relations with her. If this happens in the city, you must bring them both out to the public place near the gate of that city, and you must kill them with stones. You must kill the man because he used another man's wife for sexual sin, and you must kill the girl because she was in the city but did not call for help. You must remove this evil from your people. But if a man finds an engaged girl out in the field and forces her to have sexual relations with him, only the man must die. You must do nothing to the girl. She did nothing that deserves the punishment of death. This is like someone attacking their neighbor and killing them. The man found the engaged girl out in the field and attacked her. Maybe she called for help, but there was no one to help her. A man might find a virgin girl who is not engaged and force her to have sexual relations with him. If other people see this happen, he must pay the girl's father 20 ounces of silver. And the girl will become the man's wife because he used her for sexual sin. He cannot divorce her all his life. A man must not bring shame to his father by marrying his father's wife. A man with a crushed testicle or part of his sex organ cut off may not join with the men of Israel to worship the Lord. If a man's parents were not legally married, that man may not join with the men of Israel to worship the Lord, and none of his descendants to the 10th generation may join in that group. An Ammonite or Moabite may not join with the men of Israel when they gather to worship the Lord, and none of their descendants to the 10th generation may join in the worship of the Lord. The Ammonites and Moabites refused to give you bread and water on your trip at the time you came from Egypt. They also tried to hire Balaam, the son of Beor from the Mesopotamian city of Pethor, to curse you. But the Lord your God refused to do what Balaam asked. Instead, the Lord changed the curse into a blessing for you because the Lord your God loves you. You must never try to make peace with the Ammonites or Moabites. As long as you live, don't be friendly to them. You must not hate Edomites, because they are your relatives. You must not hate Egyptians, because you were a stranger in their land. The children of the 3rd generation born to the Edomites and Egyptians may join with the people of Israel to worship the Lord. When your army goes to fight against your enemies, stay away from everything that would make you unclean. If there is any man who is unclean because he had a flow of semen during the night, he must go out of the camp. He must stay away from the camp. Then, when evening comes, the man must bathe himself in water, and when the sun goes down, he may come into the camp again. You also must have a place outside the camp where people can go to relieve themselves. Among your weapons, you must also carry a stick to dig with. Then, when you relieve yourself, you must dig a hole and cover it up. This is because the Lord your God is there with you in your camp to save you and to help you defeat your enemies. So the camp must be holy. Then he will not see something disgusting and leave you. If slaves run away and come to you, don't force them to go back to their masters. Runaway slaves may live with you wherever you like in whatever city they choose. You must not trouble them. An Israelite man or woman must never become a temple prostitute. The money earned by a prostitute, either a male or female, must not be brought to the special house of the Lord your God. That money cannot be used to pay for a gift that was promised to the Lord your God, because that kind of sin is disgusting to him. When you loan something to another Israelite, you must not charge interest. Don't charge interest on money on food, or on anything that may earn interest. You may charge interest to a foreigner, but you must not charge interest to another Israelite. If you follow these rules, the Lord your God will bless you in everything you do in the land where you are going to live. When you make a promise to the Lord your God, don't be slow to pay everything you promised. The Lord your God will demand that you pay it. You will sin if you don't pay what you promised. If you don't make a promise, you are not sinning. But you must do what you say you will do. If you make a special promise to God, you chose to make that promise. God did not force you to make that promise, so you must do what you promised. When you go through another person's vineyard, you may eat as many grapes as you want, but you cannot put any of the grapes in your basket. When you go through another person's field of grain, you may eat all the grain you could pick with your hands, but you cannot use a sickle to cut that person's grain and take it with you. A man might marry a woman and then find some secret thing about her that he does not like. If that man is not pleased with her, he must write the divorce papers and give them to her. Then he must send her from his house. When she has left his house, she may go and become another man's wife. But suppose the new husband also does not like her and sends her away. If that man divorces her, the first husband may not take her again to be his wife. Or if the new husband dies, her first husband may not take her again to be his wife. She has become unclean to him. If he married her again, he would be doing something the Lord hates. You must not sin like this in the land that the Lord your God is giving you. When a man is newly married, he must not be sent to the army, and he must not be given any other special work. For 1 year he must be free to stay home and make his new wife happy. When you lend someone something, you must not take as security any part of the stones used to grind flour. That would be the same as taking away their food. Someone might kidnap another Israelite, one of their own people, and that kidnapper might sell that person as a slave. If that happens, that kidnapper must be killed. You must remove this evil from your group. When you have a very bad skin disease, be very careful to follow everything the Levite priests teach you. You must follow carefully what I told the priest to do. Remember what the Lord your God did to Miriam on your trip out of Egypt. When you give someone any kind of loan, you must not go into their house to get security. You must stand outside. Then the person who you gave the loan to will bring out the security to you. If he is a poor man, then he might give the clothes that keep him warm. You must not keep that security overnight. You must give his security back to him every evening. Then he will have clothes to sleep in. He will bless you, and the Lord your God will accept this as living right and doing good. You must not cheat a hired servant who is poor and needy. It does not matter if he is an Israelite or if he is a foreigner living in one of your cities. Give him his pay every day before sunset, because he is poor and depends on the money. If you don't pay him, he will complain against you to the Lord, and you will be guilty of sin. Parents must not be put to death for something their children did, and children must not be put to death for something their parents did. People should be put to death only for a bad thing that they themselves did. You must make sure that foreigners and orphans are treated fairly, and you must never take clothes from a widow as security. Remember, you were poor slaves in Egypt, and the Lord your God took you from that place and set you free. That is why I tell you to do these things for the poor. You might be gathering your harvest in the field, and you might forget and leave some grain there. You must not go back to get it. It will be for the foreigners, the orphans, and the widows. If you leave some grain for them, the Lord your God will bless you in everything you do. When you beat your olive trees, you must not go back to check the branches. The olives you leave will be for the foreigners, the orphans, and the widows. When you gather the grapes from your vineyard, you must not go back to gather the grapes you left. They will be for the foreigners, the orphans, and the widows. Remember, you were poor slaves in Egypt. That is why I tell you to do these things for the poor. When two people have an argument, they should go to the court. The judges will decide which person is right and which is wrong. If the judge decides a person must be beaten with a whip, the judge must make that person lie face down. Someone will beat the guilty person while the judge watches. The number of times he must be hit depends on the crime. Don't hit anyone more than 40 times during punishment, because more than that means that their life is not important to you. When an animal is being used to separate grain, you must not cover its mouth to stop it from eating. If two brothers live together, and one of them dies without a son, the wife of the dead man must not marry a stranger outside the family. Her husband's brother must take her as his wife and have sexual relations with her. He must do the duty of a husband's brother for her. Then the first son she has will be considered the dead man's son in order to keep the dead man's name alive in Israel. If the man does not want to take his brother's wife, she must go to the town meeting place and tell the leaders, "My husband's brother refuses to keep his brother's name alive in Israel. He will not do the duty of a husband's brother to me." Then the leaders of the city must call the man and talk to him. If the man is stubborn and says, "I don't want to take her," then his brother's wife must come to him in front of the leaders. She must take his sandal off his foot and spit in his face. She must say, "This is being done to the man who will not give his brother a son." From then on, the brother's family will be known in Israel as the family of the man whose sandal was removed. Two men might be fighting against each other. One man's wife might come to help her husband, but she must not grab the other man's private parts. If she does that, cut off her hand. Don't feel sorry for her. Don't use weights that are too heavy or too light. Don't keep measures in your house that are too large or too small. You must use weights and measures that are correct and accurate. Then you will live a long time in the land that the Lord your God is giving you. The Lord your God hates people who cheat with false weights and measures. Yes, He hates all people who do wrong. Remember what the Amalekites did to you when you were coming from Egypt. The Amalekites did not respect God. They attacked you when you were weak and tired. They killed all your people who were slow and walking behind everyone else. That is why you must destroy the memory of the Amalekites from the world. You will do this when you enter the land that the Lord your God is giving you. There He will give you rest from all the enemies around you. But do not forget to destroy the Amalekites.